नमस्कारः।
नमस्ते।
अस्तु, आरम्भं कुर्मः। भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते। सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे। भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते। सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे। मूढजहीः धनागमतृष्णां कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णाम्। यल्लभसे निजकर्मोपात्तं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम्। नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम्। एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्। नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम्। विद्धिव्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम्। यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निजपरिवारो रक्तः। पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे। यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे। गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये। बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः। वृद्धस्तावच्चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः। का ते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः। कस्य त्वं कः कुत आयातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः। सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वम्। निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्त्वं निश्चलतत्त्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः। वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः। क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारः ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः। मा कुरु धनजनयौवनगर्वं हरति निमेषात् कालः सर्वम्। मायामयमिदमखिलं हित्वा ब्रह्मपदं त्वं प्रविश विदित्वा। दिनयामिन्यौ सायं प्रातः शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायातः। कालः क्रीडति गच्छत्यायुः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशा वायुः। का ते कान्ता धनगतचिन्ता वातुल किं तव नास्ति नियन्ता। त्रिजगति सज्जनसङ्गतिरेका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका। द्वादशमञ्जरिकाभिरशेषः कथितो वैयाकरणस्यैषः। उपदेशो भूद्विद्या निपुणैः श्रीमच्छङ्कर भगवत् चरणैः झटिलो मुण्डीलुञ्छितकेशः काषायाम्बरबहुकृतवेषः पश्यन्नपि च न पश्यति मूढः उदरनिमित्तं बहुकृतवेषः अङ्गं गलितं पलितं मुण्डं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डं वृद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशा पिण्डम् अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनम् अथवा दानं ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन भजति न मुक्तिं जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रह भोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे रथ्याचर्पटविरचितकन्थः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्थः योगी योगनियोजितचित्तः रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव कस्त्वं कोऽहं कुत आयातः कामे जननी को मे तातः इति परिभावय सर्वमसारं विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम् त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिरात् यदि विष्णुत्वं शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदज्ञानम् शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदज्ञानम् कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं पश्यति सोऽहम् आत्मज्ञानविहीना मूढाः ते पच्यन्ते नरकनिगूढाः गेयं गीता नाम सहस्रं ध्येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रम् नेयं सज्जनसङ्गे चित्तं देयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम् सुखतः क्रियते कामाभोगः पश्चाद्धन्तशरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् अर्थमनर्थं भावय नित्यं नास्ति ततः सुखलेशः सत्यम् पुत्रादपि धनभाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः प्राणायामं प्रत्याहारं नित्यानित्यविवेकविचारम् जाप्यसमेतसमाधिविधानं कुर्ववधानं महदवधानम् गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारात् अचिरात् भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम् गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारात् अचिरात् भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम् द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवं मूढः कश्चन वैयाकरणो डुक्कृङ्करणाध्ययनधुरीणः श्रीमच्छङ्करभगवच्छिष्यैः बोधित आसीच्छोधितकरणः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृङ्करणे नामस्मरणादन्योपायं न हि पश्यामो भवतरणे राम हरे श्रीकृष्ण हरे तव नाम वदामि सदा हरे। गतासु कक्ष्यासु वयं दृष्टवन्तः यत् कथं केवलं लौकिकं व्याजं धर्माचारम् अस्मान् देवतः दूरमेव नेष्यति न तु समीपमिति। अस्माकं ये आचरणानि सन्ति यानि आचरणानि सन्ति तानि सर्वाण्यपि ज्ञानसहेन आचरितव्यम्। ज्ञानसहेनैव ज्ञानेन सह आचरणीयम्। अन्यथा यदि ज्ञानं नास्ति तर्हि न वा भक्तिः भवति, यदि भक्तिः नास्ति तथा विनम्रता विनम्रता न भवति, विनम्रता नास्ति चेत् ज्ञानं न भवति, विद्या न भवति। विनयं विद्यया एव भवति। तर्हि ज्ञानं वा भवतु भक्तिर्वा भवतु विद्या विनम्रता वा भवतु, एताभ्यः विना धर्माचारः केवलं कर्माचारः भवति। अपि च इन्द्रियनिग्रहेण विना तु सः मिथ्याचारः भवति इति भगवान् एव कथयति। यस्तु इन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। किन्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा क्षम्यताम्। There is one shloka in the third chapter which says, thinking of the Vishayas, yet outwardly engaging in all rituals is the lakshana of one who is doing a mithyachara, one who is pretending or at least falsely doing some dharmachara, that is called as a mithyachara sauchyate. So, how then must we do dharma? We must do dharma ज्ञानेन सह भक्त्या सह विद्यया सह विनयेन सह एव धर्माचरणं कुर्यात् इति अस्य श्लोकस्य अर्थः अपि च मतस्य for whichever mata it is matasya अर्थः the meaning and purpose to a religion to an organized religion comes through philosophy that is jnana. Without the jnana, mata becomes just a set of customs, something which people do together to pass time, or it becomes the breeding ground for other interests, for alternate ulterior motives like political expansion, religious expansion, superiority, discrimination, and all such non essential inevitable consequences of religion will start to unfold if we do not keep filtering out religion from time to time with jnana. And of course, bhakti is also included under jnana itself. Ataha janma shatenapi muktim na bhajati. So just to give an example, if I keep doing the Gayatri Japa 10,000 times, but my jnana, my focus is somewhere else, I'm thinking about the day's work, I'm doing something else, and so on. So it is not about the quantity, but the quality. Quantity is what matters. Because ultimately, the point of a japa, for example, is to bring the mind to focus. Either we accept that, yes, the mind is not focused, I'm just doing the japa to try and bring it into focus, or we actually try to silence our mind and focus it for a certain bit and do whatever number of times the japa. But if we are to pretend to others that we are doing 10,000 times the japa, while we know inwardly that out of those 10,000 times, maybe 10 or 20 times is the only time when we have actually focused on the meaning and so on. But we like to pretend to others that I have done a lot, I have accomplished a lot, then that is an example of mithyachara, of dambha, of show, mithyachara, where dharma is being used as showmanship. एतद् दृष्ट्वा अग्रे सराम किन्तु आशापिण्डं न कोऽपि मुञ्चते इति वयं दृष्टवन्तः वयं चर्चितवन्तः अपि आशा कस्मान् सः दरिद्रो वा भवतु सः धनवान् वा भवतु सा दरिद्रा वा भवतु सा धनवती वा भवतु सा श्रीमती वा भवतु कामपि स्त्रियं कमपि पुरुषम् आशा न त्यजति आशा न त्यजति तर्हि किं कुर्यात् by the way the other meaning of asha is directions किमर्थम् अस्माकं जीवनस्य direction is determined by asha or whatever our main goal or desire our ambitions, which gives us a purpose and a direction to life. That is why the word asha is so significant. Asha, ashete iti asha. That which helps us direct towards something else is called as asha. So essentially, desire or asha is a movement from one state, from T1, state T1 to state T2, from state 1 to state 2. That movement is called asha. Then, in the process of this movement, there requires energy, which we, of course, gain from the sun ultimately. That is through food, and then we do some dhyana and all that, and then we gain all this energy. We harness that energy to help us in this movement from transition state 1 to state 2. So, my state 1 currently is, let's say, I am getting 30 marks in my exam. I want to achieve 90 marks in the exam. So this is the state 2, 90 marks and 30 marks. So I'll need to put in the effort and strive and read books, buy books, hire a tutor, maybe make some good friends for self-study and combined study sessions. Do all of that and then focus my mind and use a lot of energy in focusing the mind, control my habits, cut out on entertainment and scrolling and all of that, and then I will be able to achieve this state too. This is just a simple, very rudimentary example. But basically, this asha that I must get a 90 mark in my exam is that desire which is propelling us. And in due course, there is an energy consumption. There could be a result, but then depending on the energy put in the investment and other factors, the result may turn out to be desirable, or it may not be as desirable as we had expected. So then there is either disappointment, or then there is satisfaction, and then some more greed. So this is how the cycle will continue. Tasmat, then where is the even idea of sukha? Where is then sukha coming from? Where in this entire hustle is there a chance for sukha? So one simple way, in in a very detached manner, in a rhetoric question, it asks is Sukham kasya viragaha sukham na karoti. For whom will viraga, that is vairagya or complete dispassion, not bring sukha? Means it's a double negation, it's a rhetoric question, which means viraga brings sukha. Vairagya brings sukha. This is the answer that the shloka is giving. But let us see an example of how that is seen in life, in actual life. We have seen that a beggar, a bhikshukaha api, तस्य आशाः भवन्ति, तस्य कामनाः वाञ्छाः भवन्ति, तस्य जीवनस्य कश्चित् किञ्चित् उद्देश्यं भवति, सः तम् अनुसरति, सा तम् अनुसरति. तर्हि सन्दर्भाः यद्यपि धनवत्वं न palayet, even if the circumstances around him or her, are not facilitating dhanatvam, is not facilitating the abundance in his life, yet can one be happy? That is the ultimate question. Because then that proves that the outward circumstances are not necessary for our internal happiness. And we have an example as such, which we have repeatedly seen, at least in very few genuine cases, which is what the shloka is describing as such. Suramandira taru moola nivasa shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha sarva parigraha bhogatyagaha kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. यः यस्य सुरमन्दिर तरुमूलम् एव निवासः, यस्य निवासः, यस्य गृहं केवलं सुरमन्दिरेषु, देवतामन्दिरेषु अथवा तरुमूलेषु, under trees or in some temples or in some chatras, some public property, some places, if one abides, has the courage to abide in that way. Shayya, and he or she sleeps on Bhutalam, on the bare ground, whatever be the weather outside, raining, drizzling, snowing, blazing hot, torturing, punishing heat, whatever it be, if he or she can sleep on the ground happily. Ajinam vasaha, vasas here means vastram. Vasas, vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. So vastram is vasas. Vasaha yasya vastram eva ajinam. Ajinam is some dead animal's cloth, or you can just say the bare minimum clothes. The bare minimum clothes to protect the body. Ajinam vasaha. Tarhi sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha. सः सर्वमपि भोगं परिग्रहं सर्वजनांश्च त्यक्तवान् अथवा त्यक्तवती. यः सर्व all kinds of parigraha of holding on and of bhoga of enjoying. Tyaktavati. If she has given up all sense of holding on and enjoying or the desire to experience, tarhi, she is in a state of viraga, of dispassion, and tasmat, from dispassion will come the blessed child called as sukham. So if you were to analyze, parigraha is graha is to hold on. Parigraha is to hold tightly. We hold on to some notions, some ideologies, or to our own beliefs, or to our own ambitions very tightly. And through that, we gain our confidence and energy and the desire, will to experience bhoga. Not literally just sexual activities, but all sorts of bhoga, indriya bhoga, all uh, gratifying sense gratifications is what we seek to achieve. Why? Because we feel empty in ourselves. Shunyatvat bhogatvam. From emptiness in ourselves, aparipurnatvat paripurnam kartum vancha. There is a desire to fill the void within us through something external. And to find that something external, we'll have to hold on to something. Hmm? That is the parigraha and bhoga. So all sorts of it, that is in all domains and spheres of life, we keep doing this. We want bhoga, so we do parigraha. We accept, we hold on, we try, we put an effort and all that. So in this example of 30 marks, 90 marks, if the parigraha is to put in the effort of studying 30 hours in a day and uh, 8 days in a week and all that. And then the bhoga is once I get 90 marks, I will happily enjoy the 90 marks. I will give a party to my parents, to my friends. I will go, open a bottle of beer and enjoy. So that is the bhoga. Or I want to enjoy the status of being the topper. Or I want to use this 90 marks to get a better job. Anything. So that is the bhoga. So this parigraha and bhoga, if this student leaves, then ultimately he will not, yes, he will definitely not get the 90 marks, but he will always already be in a state of sukha himself, from which he may choose, he or she may choose to participate in this as a game, as a leela, uh, as a duty, or as something to pass time. So it is a state of yoga from which karma is happening. Yoga, um, योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्ध्य सिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते. So says the Bhagavad Gita. Yogastha kuru karmani. The one must perform action as is being told by advice by Krishna from a state of yoga itself, from a state of happiness itself. One must already be fulfilled and then participate in an activity so that the activity becomes an expression of the joy, an expression of the already achieved state of, established state of bliss, of sukha. Then even the karma will be successful. In most cases, it will be successful. Even if it is not, it doesn't matter because one is already happy anyhow. So it's just like I am playing a crossword puzzle or maybe exo tic-tac-toe with someone else. I mean, I don't care if I lose or win, but if I'm participating with that attitude, in most cases I will win because I don't have any stress in my mind. So that is basically the philosophy of Vairagya. There is no raga, there is no feverish attachment, there is no feverish want. Yesterday we were discussing of the three kinds of desires. One are what Usha Arya had told, vital desires. Then there was, which is the one? Essentials. And then there were the desirables. So if we actually even have the viveka to classify all that we seek and box them into proper buckets, that itself is the first step towards dispassion. Now, because now we clearly recognize what we need, why we need, and how much we need. So that is the state of viraga. Of course, it is not suggesting us that we should give up everything, go and sit under a tree, because there again we have seen the previous shloka itself, which says Jatilo mundi lunchita keshah kashayambara bahukrita vesha. Then it will just become a pretension because the mind will still be on, going about its own business. While outwardly, yes, I may suffer a little and put on robes and suffer more externally because I am adjusted to a certain lifestyle. But internally, if one becomes a viragi, tarhi sukhi bhavati. From sukha, one may choose or not choose to perform action altogether. So the basic requirements, that is what is called as the vitals, are of griha, of shelter, of protection of the body through vastra, of sleep is still taken care of, but the essentials and the desirables are have now become a choice. I can choose to do it. Now I'm no longer forced to do it. I now have a choice. I now have an option. Abhiprayan suchayantu. You can always try to disagree. You can always put in your own opinions. It is not that all advice must always necessarily be heeded to. You can always say if this is something which is utterly BS and you would rather seek another method to do so.
Okay, namaste.
Namaste.
I just want to sort of give you my personal experience and examples regarding this achievement or non-achievement, and or take failures or success equally, as the Bhagavad Gita says. But I was never ever exposed to Bhagavad Gitas or shlokas or anything. When I was 16, I failed my exam. And all my colleagues, they passed the exam. Whoever passed, they came to my house. Oh, let's go out. I said, okay, no problem. No issues with my parents. They never said anything. No consolation, no crying, no nothing. Just went out, came back, just as the day, nothing has happened. So that was my first experience of failure and accepting failure. But I don't know how I accepted it and what made me just not worry about it. And I got my paper reevaluated, and I had failed by 1 mark because maybe I knew within myself that I had done my good efforts, but maybe I didn't pass. I don't know what my psychology at that age was. And that didn't make me any less intelligent or more intelligent. The only thing that hindered was I couldn't progress to the next class. But so what? I passed the exam. And my policy became, aim for the minimum pass marks when you sit the exam. And then whatever you can do, it will add as a bonus. And then if you get a higher mark, you're happy. If you don't get a higher mark, you have put in good effort and you got what you deserved.
Satyam.
And that's the policy I've been carrying through all my life. And I was never exposed to Sanskrit. I was never exposed to anything of this kind until the age 70, 72. Since then, I've taken 5 or 6 exams and I have passed every one of them.
Wow.
But my percentage may have been dropping, but the circumstances are dictating whether I can put in effort or not. I listen to, I try to retain as much, and then I just go. Whereas all my other friends, they're aiming for 90%. Oh, I got 90%, but that really doesn't matter in your life. It's the progression and achievement and exposure to gnana and accepting what you are, what you can get. Don't ever compare yourself to Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Samichinam. Very true. Don't compare.
Otherwise, if it becomes, oh, I want to be like them. No 2 clocks, no 2 doctors, no 2 lawyers are the same. So everything is different. What you have is unique, individual, and it suits you. If it doesn't suit you, you try to sort of change it to make it suitable for you.
अति समीचीनम् अति सुष्ठु अपि. And so when they say the very popular proverb is comparison is the thief of joy. But Ari, tell me one thing. Would you think we would actually progress if we didn't compare ourselves with others? From the day one we.
I have actually compared myself with others in the sense, say if somebody has achieved 90% for the same question paper, whereas I have achieved 35%. So I would think, oh, where did I go wrong? Was there any scope for me to sort of develop myself a bit more better? Could I achieve something to sort of not to comparing myself to the other person, but could I increase my knowledge? Could I increase my experience? It's not out of greed, but it's just a learning process. So you should compare yourself, but the thing is, you should never ever get disappointed because you can't achieve. Somebody could be a millionaire. And you know yourself, you can't become a millionaire unless you have got the skills of the people who are millionaires. Or they could have done it with cheating or their own personal skills or input through their friends. There's a lot of factors. So if you know how they have achieved it, would you be intelligent enough to follow the same thing? Or you can just develop your own intelligence. Instead, like maybe it's like software. You observe things and then you suddenly come up with a bingo idea. And then you discover something. And then it is your child product. So comparison is also very healthy, but it can also be very destructional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can be destructional, correct. Samishina. Anybody else would like to add or subtract from this?
Yeah.
Marie, Padatu.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah, Sarvebhyo Namah. I couldn't get madam's name.
My name is Shanta.
Shantaji, it was really, we have to appreciate your maturity by the age of 16 itself. That's the phase where a lot of changes happens, like identity, searching for identity, and then literally learning the world and then have a place in the circles. So you have achieved the most important thing, and the best part is the comparison word. I'm very happy that we are. I'm also connected to you all. Where even I have not compared myself from the childhood, probably because of the environment and the this one customs culture which parents inculcated, especially my mother. There, actually, they said is comparison and two things, but in a very constructive way. That is, if you don't have certain things, for an example, better cloth or better certain things, or otherwise gadgets or any book or something like that in the childhood, that's the most essential part, right? So our parents my mother used to say that, see the people who are beggars, or otherwise those children who are not able to, our parents not able to afford to the school. Okay, look at them and then be thankful to Bhagavan and the situation. But at the same time, get this one inspired the better achievers. For an example, if somebody is doing better and their handwriting is better, let's take as children, handwriting is better, or otherwise they are scoring a good marks and they are able to put more effort and the focus most of the time. A constructive or studies this one. instead of wasting. That's also like inspirational. That comparison is good, but at the same time, it should not be like very destructive. This one, comparison. Only take a reference of it to improve yourself.
Satyam.
That's the like, and definitely I just agree with Shantaji. Like, compare ourselves for a better our version.
Satyam.
So, if the comparison has come, I can take my son's example. Whenever we go to Guruji's place, there are children who are like, they are allowed to play badminton till the time the puja completes and the prasadam yoga happens. So the children were playing a badminton. So the first time, he said, "I want badminton, bat and also the cup." Said, another 2 weeks, 2 months, there is an exam, and you don't have people to play around. I come after office hours. I can't take you to this. So look whether it is required, and if you have this one to play, then we'll do it. Otherwise, just because somebody has certain things, you should not say that even I want it. So I just happened to, because we from the Sun Guruji, if it comes, it is the tirtha, water becomes a tirtha if the word comes from Guruji. So over there we just said that, and then he appreciated as a parent that nipped the word itself, the comparison word in the child, this one itself. So what is done as a parent, also we should be guided in the right direction so that we can guide our spirits. So the comparison should be stopped so that the person becomes more contented. There is trupti. When there is a trupti, contentment is because it's a trupti with what we have, and also achieve what is necessary to achieve towards the actual in the right process or a direction.
Exactly.
So when there is no trupti, because of the comparison, there will not be trupti, then it will also lead to a asuya and dvesha and all sort of crime if it goes to the extreme end, and it gives a lot of discontentment in the total life, and it not only harms the person but also people associated. Example, Duryodhana, he was not satisfied. He cannot be satisfied because of the comparison.
Wow, that is a very nice example, correct, Duryodhana.
If the person is not having a satisfaction, there is no line marked within once, then definitely this kind of problem occurs. And I have certain this one about this shloka especially specific. It says sarvam parityaja, sarva parigraha bhogatyagaha. Bhogatyaga, is it essentials? Because if you take our normal situations, we cannot go and then sit on the tree under this one. We have our this one to take care of our duties as different roles. Can we do that? And also, if the person is not healthy and they cannot sit with a bare minimum dress and food, they have to take a certain care. How does such kind of people can inculcate any of these, and will this shloka be applicable to those who literally don't have, and they need practice? Yeah.
Satyam. Did somebody ask a question? I heard a pop.
I think Shanta ma'am.
Madhutwari.
This is Bhagam Tyaktir. It will be like the old-fashioned Tasrama. In good old days, maybe they used to go, leave the whole family, go to a forest or mountain or wherever and pray and then just achieve their end. But in this modern day, you can achieve this vanaprastha ashrama or bhoga tyaga sat in within your own comforts as well.
Hmm.
It is possible to become attachment with detachment.
Hmm.
So you're still attached, but you're doing certain workers just to keep yourself alive until the day you die, the basic comforts. So that is also a kind of bhogatyaga.
Satyam. Hmm.
That's my opinion. So you don't have to go under a tree, you don't have to go up to the mountain, or you don't have to go to a forest.
Hmm.
But you can achieve those places within yourself in the comfort of your own home. When if you want to sort of concentrate on anything, you should have basic bodily comfort in the sense we call it a stoichic temperature. Stoichic temperature is where you can stay without the clothes on, without sweating or like that. Okay, which is very comfortable. You're not sweating, you're not shivering, you're basically absolutely comfortable.
Hmm.
So you should bring your manashanti to that kind of level. To be able to do that, your body should be comfortable. So you still need a little bit of burger and you need the fuel you should eat to do the normal bodily function, whether you're willing or not, because indriyas are working within themselves 24/7. Whether you want to work or not, you could be just sat in a chair, but your heart is still working, your breathing is still working, your muscles are twitching.
Satyam. Hmm.
Yeah.
That is actually very true. And in fact, this very question which Usha Arya has raised actually is also raised once by Janaka Maharaja to a saint called Ashtavakra. So Ashtavakra, he comes to the palace and he gives the Upadesha called the Ashtavakra Gita. And then Janaka slowly he gets enlightened as the story goes. And then after a few months, when Ashtavakra revisits the palace, he was expecting that either the Janaka has given up his responsibilities to his ministers or to his son or daughter, whoever, and he has left. But to his surprise, he still finds Janaka in the palace. And then he starts taunting him and by saying, why, after even enlightenment, do you seek all these bhogas? Why don't you give up everything and live freely? Why do you want to bind yourself to all these responsibilities? Why do you still sleep with your wife? Why do you still enjoy the pleasures of your grandchildren, etc.? And then to which Janaka says a very powerful, potent thing, which is in line with what both of you have said somewhat, that for a person in whose mind itself the seeds of desire, of attachment, and raga and dvesha has burnt out, where is the need, therefore, to even bring about revulsion or aversion to worldly attachments? Why must one run away like you have? I mean, he doesn't say you ran away, but he makes a very sarcastic in the same tone. He says, only people who feel uncomfortable with the material will try to be averse to it. So, for one who neither has an aversion nor an attachment, it doesn't matter where one is placed and still one is happy. So that is the very powerful statement and answer that Janaka Maharaja gives, of course, with great humility and reverence to his guru too. So yes, this debate of whether one must give up everything, both materially and mentally, or just mentally and then still do whatever is responsible and whatever is needed. It's a question which both kind of paramparas, both customs, both uh, schools of thought have existed.
Yeah, this help to understand that in a different ashramas, how to lead. And if it is Grihastha ashrama, then Sarala Jivana, if I understand properly.
Satyam.
And if it is a Vanaprastha ashrama, then this totally 100% applicable.
Satyam.
Dhanyavada.
Dhanyavada. And more so, this verse, I look at it as just being a proof of work, that proof of principle, as it is, proof of concept, as it is called. That is, in the previous verse, we have seen Agre Vahnihi Prishthe Bhanu Ratro Chubuka Samarpita Janu. A beggar also lives in the same way, living under a tree, doing bhiksha, and he has no bhoga vastu, etc. with him. But the subtle difference is viraga, is vairaga, the detachment. So, sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha. There, the beggar has nothing, therefore, he is by circumstance has made him a beggar. But here, by choice, he has become a beggar, and that makes all the difference. So, it's just a proof that the human creature can survive without much dependence on the external environment. Yes, whatever situation, like Ushaji has put it, whichever ashrama, whichever station and phase of life we are put at, it's not really easy to suddenly change it all and bring a chaos into our lives. Let's go. This is a very nice shloka. In fact, answers this previous discussion too, which both of them were alluding to. Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihinaha yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva. I mean, I didn't expect this verse to come up next, but it is quite coincidental that it has. So basically, that very question, should one prefer yoga or should one prefer bhoga? Should one surround himself in just yoga or with bhoga? So to that question, it says, yoga ratova, bhoga ratova bhavatu. You can choose to either be in a state of yoga, like the Sura Mandira, Tarumula Nivasa and all that, or bhoga like Janaka Maharaja in the battlefield like Arjuna, or in the head of state like Janaka and so on, or Sangarataha, or you can surround oneself, he is telling us, you can surround yourself with all people and be in the marketplace, or Sangha Vihiraha, or you can run off to the forest and be in a cave isolated. Doesn't matter. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. The what is important there then is Yasya Chittam Sada Brahmani Ramate. One whose mind alone is ever fixed, ever offered unto the feet of the vast. You can think of this vast either in a personal God sense like Shiva, Vishnu, or etc. Or if you choose not to, you can always think of it in the abstractness as that great reality, truth, and so on. So that into that Brahman, if our mind has been offered, tarhi doesn't matter yoga or bhoga, sangha or sangha vihinatva, nandati, nandati, nandatyeva. There is only bliss, bliss, and bliss alone. Doesn't matter. This is very in resonance, echoing the words of Janaka himself. Nandati, nandati, nandatyeva. योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव. Very beautiful. So more so this moksha and this detachment has to do with the mind more than the externalities is basically the purport, I think. Astu. And one of my favorite shlokas, I don't know if it would be yours, but still this is one of my favorite because of the image that it paints. भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा. यः भगवद्गीतां किञ्चित् पठितवान् अथवा पठितवती अधीतवती यह किंचित्वा गंगाजलम लवा कणिका. Kanika is a particle, lava is a little, even a particle, a droplet of water, of pure holy water, if one has drunk. Sakrid api ekavaram va murari samarcha kriyate. Even if once one were to truly worship the supreme, the vast Murari, tasya यमेन अंतकाले चर्चा नैव क्रियते. So tasya जीवात्मनः यदि स्वर्गं गमयेत् अथवा नरकं गमयेत् अथवा मोक्षं प्रापयेत् अथवा पुनरावृत्तिं कारयेत् इति चर्चा यमेन न क्रियते एव. This is a very powerful, very nice image, a hopeful image it paints. But we must understand this really well. Now, these are all very symbolic. It doesn't literally mean one should necessarily just study Bhagavad Gita, just go to Ganga, just worship Vishnu and so on. These are symbols to denote bigger concepts that one must study a little bit of scripture. So, to put our intellect to use. So, some study, some swadhyaya must be done. Bhagavad Gita is just a symbol. You can have prefer whichever text you want. Some wisdom must be gained. Then you should drink a little bit, a droplet of water from the Ganga. What does it mean? It means some practice must be done. Some external practice, of course, with jnana and bhakti must be taken. Because what happens is if we keep studying, keep reading, keep discussing, the mind will become numb. The intellect will become bored. Though it will understand everything conceptually, it will go into a delusion that, yes, I have now reached the kritakrityata state. So there is a need for practice. For first, earn the wisdom through Shravana, then practice it through Manana. That is, we actually take steps, solid steps, external steps to live it out. Tritiyam, Sakradapi yena murari samarcha kriyate. Samarcha means archana, aradhanam. Then comes the final step of nididhyasana or dhyana. Nididhyasana is a very sophisticated word, technical word. It just means dhyana. One must do the dhyana. So after we have practiced it externally, we must practice it internally, an internal worship. Antarmukha samaradhya bahirmukha sudurlabha. Lalita Sahasranama told that, if you remember. Bahirmukha, she is very hard to get through bahirmukha worship by extroverted, external pleasing. She, that is the Supreme Tattva, is more so achieved through Antarmukha Samaradhana. And that is Murari. Murari, again, is just a symbol to show the Supreme Vast. Murari, Samarcha Sakridapi Yena Kriyate. Ekavaram va kriyate. Even if one were to do it only once, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Bhagavad Gita says it. If one were to even follow a little bit, a small quantity of dharma, then to that extent, manifold times of fear gets removed, of bhaya, of samsara bhaya gets removed. So, like that, ekavaram sakrit api yena murari samarcha kriyate tasya yamena saha charcha naiva kriyate. There will be no uh, altercation between Yama and the soul of this person. What the destination will be. It means the destination is already fixed, and that will be something towards something bigger, something greater, something more auspicious. Satyam Shivam Sundaram Prati. So once one must. So why the word once? So if the mind has been tuned to such an extent that it can, for even once in a lifetime, have concentrated on either the abstractness or a personal God for, let's say, about 2 or 3 hours, that itself is a big thing. So once it has understood that, once it has entered that state, so now it has tasted the absolute, it has tasted the uh, Paramatattva. And once that taste is there, it will always linger at the back of the mind. And even if externally one were to be forced or put back or somehow by nature has been put back into samsara, that taste, that wisdom, that rasa, as it goes, ananda rasa, keeps flowing at the back of the head. And that will finally determine where the jiva will land up. Because at the time of death, that is when Yama symbolically is approaching, all the externalities, all the conditions, all the limitations put, however great or extraordinary or however ordinary and mediocre, are removed. So the soul is now unimprisoned. It is acquitted. and then finally it is allowed to go on its own way, like a bird released from the prison, from the cage. At that time, it will need a purpose. Where will if the bird has not been trained well, or if it doesn't know where it has to go, if it doesn't even know how to fly, what will it do even if the cage is, if the door is of the cage is opened? It will remain there because that is very familiar. That is why the soul will keep coming back into more and more lives. Or if it hasn't learned properly to fly, it will just fly off into some ditch. Or if it has learned to fly well, then it will go a little far and sit on a different, golden cage. So that is basically Swarga. So if there is an absolute clarity with the bird itself for what it wants, why it is here, and so on, which is basically achieved through Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, while in the cage itself. Now, when the cage is released, it can fly off to the exact place and destination it was intended to. That is, एकवारं वा मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तर्हि तस्य यमेन सह तस्य गतेः चर्चा नैव क्रियते. Whatever moksha, sarga, whatever was the best thing for the jiva will happen. Because the ananda rasa within this person will finally be the only thing avashishta which will take it to the destination. Bhavantah kim vadanti?
I have one point here.
Hmm.
What are the kind of discussion happens and when it happens with the Yama?
What are the discussions and when do they happen with Yama? I mean, I'm not really sure, but basically, this charcha is just a imagery of how Yama or the Lord of Death, or is the controller of all the body and the souls. He is the personification of the force which is controlling the destination of the soul, the force which will lead it, which will direct the soul to some paths. So, left unto himself, Yama will choose based on the karma, based on the papa and punya as is told by the scriptures. Otherwise, if the soul has done these three things, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, like a wild card entry, it has now, because like I said, the mind has now had an experience of the Supreme. When all these papa punya are removed from the soul, when it is uncaged, so to speak, then the force which is determining the destination of the soul is no longer strong enough, because now the mind has the backing of the Supreme. So now the soul which has the backing of the Supreme will lead to wherever the Supreme wills it, and not based on the law of karma. This is what I think. You can please interpret in your way. You can share with us how you look at this.
Oh, okay. The thing is, if you recollect, the Atma goes on the Chitragupta, and there will be a discussion like whether decision happens, how long, based on the actions, either to suffer in a Naraka or in a Sarga, and then go back to which kind of
Satyam.
taker.
Mm.
Probably that is the Charcha it speaks about.
Mm.
That's what I can understand.
Satyam.
I think the church is within your own mind. You're constantly debating yourself. Have I done good? Have I done wrong? And, as you start getting older, you don't have anybody to talk to, or even if you want to talk, your mind is not wanting to. Mind is wanting to talk. Maybe you're physically don't want to converse with somebody, or you just want to be yourself. And these churches will start coming within your own mind. You recollect everything, what you have been doing since your childhood days. There's a constant debate within your mind. So that could be your Chitragupta, that could be your Chitragupta, that could be your Yama, and sort of things. Then what happens to the soul next? Nobody knows. But my argument is, if every soul is not cut or chedana and slain and wet, and like the Bhagavad Gita shloka says, why are so many souls increasing? Are there any other universe for your soul to sort of traverse and sort of come back? Are we all rotating through all the Patala and Swarga and whatever universe we have got? We are supposed to be having some 14 universes or something like that.
Mm.
So if the population is increasing and every soul is remaining, where is the balance? Are there limited souls in this universe? Nobody knows.
Satyam.
I have one point. I totally agree with Shantaji. But overpopulation can only happen in Abrahamic religion, where it doesn't say from where the Atma, is taking a birth, and then either they all in a hell or a heaven. But what after that is no answer over there. But here it's recycling is happening. So probably even every Atma is part of the big infinity.
Mm.
So it just gets recycled. It just gets promoted or demoted.
Mm.
Yeah, it gets recycled. It gets recycled.
Mm.
But you take a confined space. You're two people in a house, and then you make 4 children. And then those 4 children, they get married. And the parents, 2 of them, they go. And you still have 4 children plus 2 to each. Okay? 8 plus 4, 12 in the same house. And then the next generation produces a little bit more in the same house. And maybe, depending on the proportion of the people, 2 may be sort of going a bit early and 2 may be sort of staying longevity because of longevity. The same house, 32 people are there. So are they going to be reducing in their own size to fit into the house? Or are they moving out of the house and spread? That's what I'm talking about, the universe. This house, which started with 2 people, is the earth. And then when you start moving house, are you going to go to Neptune or are you going to Mars? So you're not reducing by size, but you're increasing by size.
Actually, the population, if you take the same example for the entire world, I mean, room and world, like Earth, if you take the aging factor, okay, the age and definitely what comes should go. And also the nature calamities also takes care and balances it. Checks and balance over there. And even the kind of calamities, of course, if we recollect during Mahabharata Yuddha also, Kurukshetra Yuddha, the population was too high. It was too much. Then the external events, we don't know when it starts. And it balances it, and it's like a China. It was overpopulated. And they went for a policy. They had to. There are certain things that poses to take, and then it just corrects itself. It will reach saturation either overpopulation or underpopulation. It takes it's a synode kind of thing. It just keeps on. It's recycle. It just goes up and goes down.
Satyam.
That's what I understand. The universe is like so large. It's like sand grains throughout the world. Our Atma is even infinitely smaller. And recently, I just with Dr. Prabhudev, I happened to listen to Sri Raja Rajeshwari, this one. I don't remember what was that discourse for. And they were talking during the Chandi Homa part, the lecture Chandi Homa, Koti Chandi Homa, this one, Parayana, sorry. So all the 3, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, starts navigating to reach to Mani, the place is called something starts with the money.
Manidvipa.
Manitvi, yes. They start now going and then it just crosses and it's like infinite. I mean, it takes a lot of time, yugas and that other stuff, and it goes on for 15 minutes, and then I mean that is the explanation goes on, and when they happen to reach and then see only the smallest point of the toe of Raja Rajeshwari Mata, at that time Brahma could able to see Panchamukha Brahma, Sahasramukha Brahma of different universe at different Brahmaloka time.
Hmm.
That was like inflating everything.
Correct.
So that's unimaginable vastness. Time and space is unimaginable. And I have to request them, like, is it only happens only for devatas or something like that? Then if Mata decides, she can bring even our ancestors and ourselves and the future generation together in one point of time in one place. For only just, if she thinks, not for leaving or something like that. So that kind of capability, unimaginable space and time control Paramatma has.
Hmm.
Just the only reference, if I just contradicting Shantaji, just pardon me.
No, absolutely. I mean, one need not always agree with everything true.
Yeah, the vastness is unimaginable. Infinity is something, it's beyond our understanding. It's just like smallest of grain, what we breathe, how much we don't know, how much tiniest particle we are. So we are not even that tiniest particle.
Hmm.
At the tiniest time we survive.
Satyam. We are really very insignificant in the scale of the universe of the cosmos. Satyam. धन्यवादः उभाभ्यामपि अग्रे सराम. Okay, one other shloka to put it all better in perspective. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya apare, pahi murare. I would say this is the poster boy shloka of this Bhaja Govindam. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punaha punaha api jananam, punaha punaha api maranam, punaha punaha api jananyaha matuhu udare jathare yonau shayanam kurmaha. Tarhi iha samsare, in this entire samsara, yat bahu dustare. Tara is to be able to swim. Dustara is which is hard to swim. Bahudustara is extremely hard to swim. This samsara, this chakra, which with waves colliding with each other, tsunamis happening from time to time, and all this. Iha samsare, asmin samsare, bahudustare samsare asmin. He murare, Mam, Sarvan, Asman, Api, Kripaya, with your grace, please, Pahi, please protect us, please show us the way, which is Apare, Apare, Bahudustare. This seamlessly shoreless ocean. I mean, an ocean should have a shore, right? It should be bound by land on some sides. That is a shore. But Apara is where there are no shores. I mean, there is no limit. It's an endless ocean. So it seems apparently where Maya is called Anadi. There is an Anadi Maya, Anadi Avidya. It's going on and on and on. Like both of you have already previously expressed, there are so many lokas, so many classes of GVs. There are pitras, there is different time periods. So there is in the past, there were many souls in the present. Then in the future, there will be some more. So much vastness is there in this universe at every point of time, in different dimensions also, like both of you have expressed. So in such a case, do I not find an escape route? Is there no emergency exit? Is there no Ashraya? Is there no haven, a safe haven for me, O Murare? So please take me to that safe haven, a dhama, param dhama, the supreme abode, a safe haven for my soul, removed away from all this mundanity, this repeated cycle. It's an ocean. Why is it called an ocean? If we just look at it, an ocean, if we actually study, has a set number of phenomena which will keep repeating itself even on a very, though on a very large geological time scale. All the reactions which happen in the ocean, chemical reactions, physical reactions, the currents, the oceanic currents coming up and down, the waves crashing into one another and arising, all of it, though in a short period of time it looks like it is random, it is something new, over a very long time period, it is all very predictable. It's all the very same happening again and again and again. The same factors, you create a problem, you make effort and acquire some energy to solve it, then you solve the problem, and they're not satisfied, and then you create an emptiness, and then that creates another problem. So this is how in every aspect of our lives there is a cyclical, mundane, boring uh, set of phenomena happening. So from this set of phenomena where we are getting sucked into all of this, we have almost little control over our own lives. Forget about the next life or the previous life. In our very own lived life, how much control do we have in each of it? So we are, in essence, being born, so to speak, at each moment, and then some version of ourselves is getting died, is getting killed at every moment. Then with some other janani, here it not literally mean the mother, biological mother, but by some factors, by Prakriti, who is called also the janani, in the womb of Prakriti, in the womb of nature, we sleep, we take refuge, and it pushes us towards evolutions, towards her uh, protocol, her usual set of protocols that she wants to achieve through us. So we are just puppets of nature. And then she keeps reinventing us, remodifying us through metamorphosis into some other environment, puts us in a different environment under different circumstances, tests us, failure or pass, she will determine, and then some other test, and so on and so forth. So this is a Bahu Dustara Samsara. So from this Prakriti, O Paramapurusha, please save us. Please save us and take us to the Dhama where Prakriti and Purusha have become one. When there is an absolute Aikya between God and the universe, between Jiva and Paramatma, between Ishvara and the Jagat. So at that point of union, which is called, represented here as Murari, we are seeking to go back there, away from this cycle, go fly off tangentially into that point. Comments, remarks, please. Astu. We have already discussed it. Maybe that's why we'll see some other theme now. रथ्याचर्पटविरचितकन्थः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्थः योगी योगनियोजितचित्तः रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव यः केवलं तस्य वस्त्राणि रथ्याचर्पटेन विरचितवान् अथवा विरचितवती. Kantha means a rag. A piece of cloth is called a kantha. So a rag, one who wears rags or vastra made from rathya charpata, by pieces shredded clothes or torn clothes which are there in the rathya. Rathya means vithi, uh, on the road. From any roadside clothes, from the cheapest wholesale store on the street, one has procured uh, his or her drapes, but the pantha, the path he or she walks, the sadhaka walks, is that which is bereft of absolute rights and wrongs. Punya, punya. So one has transcended the level of dharma itself. Papa and punya. Punya, apunya. The right and the wrong. What should the do's and the don'ts. The commandments, the instructions, the nature of duality itself, which is a consequence of the thinking mind. If the one has transcended it, Vivarjita, now it is not that this person is going to do only bad actions. The very ideas of right and wrong has been transcended into a state of absolute compassion and knowledge of wisdom. Because one now understands that even the wrongdoers are doing it out of a certain reason. There is a wisdom in oneself to protect oneself and do what is needed and not become a doormat and get all walked upon, but also has the compassion to feel and not have dvesha for the apunya karta or the papis. So that is a state of Krishnatva, where he is beyond the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Though he may physically support the Pandavas, but in his mental state, as he finally says in the Swargarohana Parva, that all of them are just his own manifestations, and he has equally eaten up, gulped down both the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and many. I mean, these are just two clans, and like we have been discussing, he is the universe itself, and the universe has gulped down so many different species, and so there is literally no distinction between right and wrong. It's all just a play, and that Krishnatva has come in this person's state. Then such a yogi or a yogini, तस्य चित्तं सदा योगे एव नियुक्तम, whose mind, absolute antahkarana, is submerged, is dwelling and completely wet with the ananda rasa of yoga itself, of samadhi. For such a person, there is ramate, he or she enjoys how bala unmattavat eva. Bala unmattavat. Unmatta is a mad person, an intoxicated, a person who is high on some drug, such seemingly like that, or like a bala, like an infant which is kicking in its cradle and laughing for no reason at all. It cries for no reason at all. It feels hungry, doesn't feel hungry, it doesn't matter. It sleeps, it wakes up. Whether it recognizes us or not, also we still don't know. So, such a state of absolute self knowledge, of self reveling, comes to the person whose chitta is always in yoga. The body may not be in yoga, but the chitta definitely is in yoga, is in a state of union with that Krishnatva. In such a case, the pantha, this person walks on a path which admits neither punya nor papa. So there is a total compassionate, wise neutrality which leads him or her towards yoga. And such a person externally may behave like, to us, for the people outside, it may seem that this fellow is very infantile, is very bala or unmattavat. For example, Lalleshwari or Akka Mahadevi, all these great yoginis, they were scorned by society. They they thought, oh, this is a mad woman who would bear herself like this. She is challenging the taboos of society. Or you can take an example of uh, Sadashiva Brahmendra. He was himself also very mad. He tore off his clothes, or sometimes he wore just a kopina, and then he walked. He just walked. It didn't matter to him whether he walked into a palace, whether he walked into a kutira, whether he walked straight into a river, the swell of a river, or I mean, sometimes he actually entered into the harem of one of the Turkic kings also. It didn't matter to him that, oh, I am a sannyasi, I should not be entering a harem. Oh, I am a good man, I should only eat food from, the sattvic food, etc. So, such a person who has elated his or her state, to the state of Krishnatva, is now no longer to be dictated by punya or papa and no longer in need for any luxury or any non-essentials. He or she is happy externally, the physical body will take its own course. The mind, the intellect has now been silenced of uh, debating too much about papa and punya. The mind has now been engaged in total samadhi. Then what is more to be seen? There is just Ananda itself. There is Rama. There is Ramate, comes from the word Rama, means to enjoy, to revel, to be in total state of uh, happiness, of joy, which is seemingly like, it's not exactly like, but it is seemingly to the external person, a third party person. It looks as if this fellow is Balishaha. He is like an infant. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or she is like a mad lady. She is an unmatta who is high on some drug, but actually they are high on the drug of life itself, on Brahman itself. A very poetic shloka, in fact. I mean, this is really appreciable. How each shloka, Yoga Ratova, Bhoga Ratova, and then this, they are describing the state of the enlightened being. And it is not really far from what we can also be, right? So it is not just admiring or eulogizing another Jivan Mukta or another Guru or another sannyasi as such. It is very much a possibility in ourselves, is basically the takeaway. Because if we were to determine ourselves to be equally untouched by externalities of life, the factors of life, then we ourselves will have the courage to walk away or to even be with the world and still be unattached. That is, which is actually harder. Kim with Prenti, Kincha Vivakshitam.
So does this mean
Hmm.
that whether you wear rags
Hmm.
or designer clothes or whatever, if you're walking in the right path and thinking of Papa and Punya and living in a righteous way, you can still be yogini.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So, and also, like, just because somebody is walking rags and so, it doesn't mean he's not a rich person. You can be still a millionaire. You can be walking around in t-shirts,
Hmm.
not being recognizable,
Very true. I
or
mean, yes.
dressing down to fit in the circumstances or to be in the group of people, and you don't stand out like a sore thumb.
Hmm.
You can still be the basic person what you are, but you're behaving accordingly. Is
Satyam.
that right?
Satyam. Absolutely. And I just wanted to comment that, especially in India, we see all these politicians, they dress so down as if they are, I mean, they just found they have only one set of clothes. But I just wanted to make this point. But though they are, of course, the billionaires and millionaires of the country. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
Anyway.
Dhanyawad. Musharye, would you like to say something?
What I think, because I was not concentrating, especially first two sentences were discussed. I just was involved in another activity, important activity. So, if I understand with the latest information Shantam ji told, we can see if you take our Prime Minister, he is in a different attires.
Mm.
They're costliest, but he is a Karma Yogi.
Mm. Satyam.
And there are people who looks as Anita, you said, they might look like a simple cloth with a white cloth, but their sarva is full of all the strings.
Satyam, yes.
So it is like they're detached, but they are their appearance or otherwise their actions are as per the need of the dharma. So we can't say Raja, okay, go and take a saffron cloth. He has to be in a commanding position. He has to be respected, and appearance makes the biggest difference, and also shows the command in a nation or country, and his subjects should respect him. But he is detached. He is actually focusing on the duty, as told by his Dharma Gurus, Rajagurus,
Satyam,
and the
Satyam.
Rishis. So it's like whatever the varnas you are in, you have to take that particular appearance. If you're a pilot, or if you're a different soldier, or you're in a particular profession, you have to wear that dress accordingly. But they can always be doing their internally. They can be doing their own duties. For example, our Tauji, like I was discussing, like it's not possible for people to do Sandhya Vandana Puja if they are doctors and if they are sailors. They are having a different time zone, and then luckily I just learned that there are doctors over there, and when US is known contacts. They finish their duty. Sometimes it goes up to 3 o'clock in the early morning. At 5 o'clock, they'll somehow just get up or get ready and do Sandhya Vandana. Even the sailors also, I think I've seen one of the video. He does his duty he does his Sandhya Vandana on the fleet itself.
Wow, that's so appreciable, yes.
Dharma has to be like the other things are as per the profession and the need of the particular role.
Satyam.
But internally, they are tranquil.
Yes, yes. Internally, that is the bottom line, correct.
Yeah.
The yogi yoga niyojita chitta exactly speaks of that if the mind is engaged in yoga of whatever karma yoga, bhakti yoga, whatever jnana yoga, dharma, dhyana, etc., then yes, doesn't matter. Dhanyavada. And to say of how to just corroborate this, how people will still wear simple cloths, white cloth, and still do the naughtiest of things in their bank accounts and loot a lot of money. There is, like I said, this mithyachara shloka, karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasa uchyate. He who externally for the sake of others will show that his karmendriyas are all under control, but internally in his mind will keep remembering and calculating of his investments and all that. Indriyarthan sancharati. He will go through the indriyarthas, of course, very covertly. And sahayeva mudhatma, vimudhatma. He is the utter confused soul who is also called as the mithyachara, who is also called as the most hypocrite of people. And in stark contrast to that, there is also the next shloka, this is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, 7th shloka. Let me pull it up. Yastvindriyani manasa, but he or she who through the manas are niyama, they control the mind and the indriyas through within themselves. Kintu karma arabhate, they will do the karma as is necessary outside in the world. Karmendriyai karma yogam, and that is called karma yoga. And he or she who is an asakta, who is unattached or detached rather, saha vishishyate, they are truly to be venerated, is what Krishna himself is actually agreeing to. Yes, there are people who will take on rags, who may take on rags, and there are other and still be in a state of samadhi. Yes, there can be other people also who, though engaged with the world, can still be in samadhi too. Now coming back from a very high elated states of description of all the Jivan Mukta and all that, it's talking now very groundedly. It's talking Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani ko me tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. It's again putting forth very similar to a previous shloka we had seen. Kastvam kate kanta kaste putrah samsaro yamativa vichitrah kasya tvam kaha kuta ayatah tattvam chintaya tadiha bhratah. We have seen that shloka, and very similar to that is this, where it's putting us these questions. Tvam kaha, who am I? Who are you? Ko aham, who am I? Kuta ayataha, from where have I come? From where have I emerged? Is this personality of mine brought, inculcated through my parents? So let's do all this vichara. So let's think about it, do a thought experiment and see where our personality has come from, where our sense of life has come from. We say, I am living, this laptop is dead, and this is inanimate. So have we ever thought what our source of life is? And have you ever thought, what am I? Who am I? Central teacher, this is a central teaching of this teacher called Ramana Maharshi, who focused on this one aspect alone, ko aham, who am I? And then an entire philosophy of his own came into the picture. Then kame janani kome tataha, who truly is my mother and who is my father, which means are just these biological parents my caregivers? If what if I'm adopted, then who will I have my allegiance towards? Is it my are the guardians who raised me or who gave me birth in the womb? And then if you could just apply this in a very more general scenario where, let's say, who is my source of emotional support and who is the source of my material support? Janani is usually the caregiver through emotions, and Tata, the father, is through material wisdom. So, who is giving me emotional support, and who am I relying on for material support and convenience? One must think this. Iti, so must one think. Paribhavaya. Please, let's keep wondering about these questions. One must not answer them. I mean, the beauty is that these questions are really unanswerable. Nobody has given this on writing on stone that this is the answer. But the beauty is these questions help us look at and reevaluate ourselves and our actions repeatedly. They are used as tools to vet our own lives. Sarvam asaram vishwam. So this Vishwa is truly asaram. There is no substance to this Vishwa, to this world. When one has realized this, having lived through all the different varieties of experience that the world can offer, there is sound wisdom in the mind which has now begun to look at things very clearly. There is no confusion anymore. It knows the intentions of people around. It knows the dealings, the proceedings of the world. It knows how sukha and dukkha come, how the body manifests, and all of that. And then these questions are still ablaze in one's heart, which is leading us towards vairagya. Tarhi etam swapna vicharam tyaktva. So let's give up this dream called the samsara, which is like a dream of God. A very profound comparison is made, an analogy is offered by Advaita Vedanta. It says this entire life of ours, this waking life, is actually a dream. A dream, like there was this movie called The Matrix. It's a simulation. It's something which is happening by the will of some other entity or some other phenomenon which we don't understand. So this is like a swapna, a dream where all characters are playing about almost meaninglessly. There is no purpose, there is no sense at all. If we analyze our own dreams, we have often felt this, right? The dream is so chaotic. It has no plot as such. There is no logical A to B to C to D connection between what happened in our dreams. There are just characters. They come, they participate, they clash with each other, they love each other, they laugh, they fight each other, and then there is a tiger chasing me, and at another point, I am killing somebody else, and then somebody else is killing me. Then I am having a party with someone else. There is an absolute chaos, randomicity associated with my dream. And so is the case with the world, and therefore one ought to think if this is actually another bigger dream of something, of a universal mind. So has Ishvara dreamed this Jagat up? Has God dreamt up this entire existence itself? That's a very deep philosophical existential question that one must also keep burning and thinking about in oneself. One need not agree to anything. I need not, just because I'm a follower or born in some Advaita Parampara, I need not agree, nor must I disagree to it just because I'm born in some Dvaita Parampara or something else. All these philosophical questions are without sectarian biases. These are fundamental questions one must rise for and answer for oneself, or at least strive to achieve answers for within oneself, where there is absolutely no judgment. If nobody will criticize me for saying, "Oh, the universe is," if I say that the universe is a dream, because it is my own understanding or my own experience. And like we have begun this discussion of in today's class very wonderfully, that everybody's life is unique. It is very different. It is one's own life. And in such a way, I can hold and look at these questions of who I am, who everybody else is, in a context of my own life. And then when one's mind and intellect are therefore engaged more and more and more towards these fundamental existential questions, then slowly, this Vishwas, Asara Vishwa, this substanceless world's uh, ensnarement of illusion will start becoming more apparent, and then we will look at how these activities must be performed. It will be performed, but now from a very detached, from a very calm, serene third person perspective. We shall look at these things. And how do we do that? Through this method of questioning. This is centrally the philosophy of Ramana Maharshi itself. Question. There is no harm in questioning, but genuinely, one must be authentic with one's question and must not use it as tools to put on others or put on others' philosophy. One truly must ask these questions: who I am, who I am, who I am. Why did I behave like this way? Why did I do that? Why did I do this? And like I think Shanta Arya has told, as we progress, advance greater in life, all things which we have done in the past, the memories, we start reanalyzing them and introspecting. That is basically the intention of this shloka too, that we must analyze and see. In most cases, we fear looking at ourselves. It shows up in many small ways. For example, if after I record myself or film myself, many people have this innate aversion to look at themselves on the screen or hear themselves on the phone. That's a very simple idiosyncrasy, though deeper inside there is a greater sense of refusal to look at oneself. Now, we will look at all these family photos from 10, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and all that, but we will not take a moment to think of my reactions those days. We will look at it from a very low rose-colored lens, our own lives. So, without the necessity to hagiographize our lives, neither the tendency to put ourselves down and victimize ourselves. If we can truly look at ourselves, our own lives, through our memories and our future ambitions, very clearly like a crystal, then something absolutely wonderful would happen by this disillusionment of this world, is what the shloka's objective is. What do you guys think? Should we do this questioning? Will it not lead our mind astray from, functioning in the world? What do you guys think?
So first of all, definition of life. What is life? One thing. Where do you come from? Where do you go? I don't think nobody knows.
Mm.
What was you know the source of your origin. You came from your parents.
Mm.
Well, how did you come to your parents?
Mm.
Okay, you may say it is union, but even so, how did the cells multiply?
Right.
What is the formation of your stages of your life? Within the womb, who created you? And who put you together and gave you different organs, one with acid, one with alkali, one with thinking? I don't think anybody can define,
Satyam. Mm.
or at least I don't know.
Right. I mean, that is true that when we keep questioning, we'll ultimately hit a wall and we finally have to come to this very humbling position that I mean, at least I don't know exactly. Socrates once said that the sign of a person who is intelligent is that he knows that he doesn't know. So that exactly, I think, is what you are hinting at.
Yeah. And also, we don't even know Trunamatra, as they say, not even one iota of the knowledge of this world. And we still think we are intelligent.
Mm. True.
Oh, I have one thing like
Yes, Ari, please.
the Koham. I think he revisit Upanishad, I think.
Mm.
Son asks same question to his father, if I remember.
Mm.
They're also like these questions are Prashnopanishad or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, over there is a discussion happens, and our dharma always says that seek, question.
Mm.
That's one thing. And through that, there are some answers. Not many of the answers are provided to us, so that it's already known that one janma or a lifespan cannot perceive all the knowledge.
Mm.
And one wise person, very unknown, I just happened to just request them and listen to their discussion, and he was saying that why should we believe certain things happens and what their cause and effect at an action. And at that time, he said, by I think in one of the discussion I mentioned this, by holding a breath for 1 second, you increase your lifespan for 1 more minute, and 1 minute to 1 hour, 1 hour to a day to a year to a century, and like that. So Rishi Munis did that kind of, that kind of tapas and then yoga, and they saw what happens if a person does and its effect on his or his generation or to the community or to the nation. That's how they just drashya, they have seen it. And also some of the this one also like Rig Veda and any Vedas, it's all Darshanika.
Mm.
It's like it's the information, not the information, the wisdom, the science, absolute science is floating in the universe.
Mm.
That is perceived and written and then added by all the Darshanikas.
Satyam. Mm.
So we cannot understand it in one go, but it is through Guru Parampara this knowledge is transferred, Shruti and Smriti.
Mm. Yes.
So with that as a base, we can lead our life, which is unique to anybody, and later on, seek the right path for our circumstances, our nature.
Satyam. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Go on, Ari. Please continue.
Shanta ji had she was
No, you please you finish completely and then.
I can just add a point for both
Very
of
true.
you.
Very true. Absolutely.
Otherwise, there is like from where we come and where we go. Luckily, we have that information, and it allows us to explore it.
Satyam. So
Uh,
you are of the view that yes, there is a need for questioning and there is always room for questioning, but then we should definitely have something as a base, a hypothesis to work on. And that you're saying we get from these scriptures. Very, very understandable. Yes.
And unlike other faiths, happened to discuss before, very respected colleagues of their own faith. But the faith itself is something it's known to them. And that time they said, change this and be careful. And later on, they said that the first verse of their holy book says that whatever is told is to be followed, not pushed.
Oh, okay.
That's the first sentence of the holy book, which starts with Q. So, but in our case, they have seen it. There's so many interpretations, so many this one, Saramsha, and also instances and avatars, all those Nataka. Ramayana is also big Nataka, and Mahabharata is Nataka. This one is like Darshanika for us. And there are evidences to say that, look, this is what it is written also, it has happened. You have the places as an evidence. This happens if this is in that yuga as per that time. At that time of, the system. So we have certain bases and then we can adopt them and change according to the situation to our Kali Yuga and our place.
Try and adapt. Yes, adopt it.
Adopt it and then
Test it.
Yeah. An example, like Shantaji would really agree with me. There are instances like vratas and pujas has to be done, but they can't do it in the morning. They don't get holidays. What they do is they come home and then perform vratas and pujas. Otherwise, they shift it to the weekend and then do the puja. So that kind of flexibility our dharma gives. But they are exception. Exception should not be normal. So that way we have information to start with, and then it will always come with our own kind of questions and keep seeking good books and then authenticated, and also wise people to get it confirmed. Yeah.
We need books, wise people to test it against in our own experience, correct? To test it against.
Learn and wise people authenticate, and we need a Sadguru, definitely. Margadarshana.
Satyam.
Because they are the only one who unbiased. They don't require anything back from us. They give a direction. They will not say what actually next. Because they can't go Kalatita. They will only give direction to take and then explore. They authenticate what the knowledge we acquired, that's true or not, and then so we can get answer for Koham.
Satyam. Yes. Dhanyavadaha. Ati samichinam. Very well summarized. Yes, Arya, do you have something to say? Add or subtract? Please feel free to disagree or agree, whatever.
Are you asking me?
Yeah. She told that you had raised your hand. So do you have something to say?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know what his brother is. I don't know what puja is. And I've never Actually, Srok, maybe, in my younger age, when we used to go to temple and sort of things, I have sat there, but I don't follow any vratas, I don't follow any pujas. But if somebody is doing any pujas and things like that, if they invite me, I go sit there and meditate, concentrate, absorb whatever has been happening, and I come home. That's my way of worshipping, or
Very.
believing in myself,
Mm.
and that my Atma itself is my Guru, and my Atma itself is my God. And
Mm.
if I analyze myself, I know what I have done wrong, where I have gone wrong, how I can correct myself, and what else can I do. So I just surrender to myself
Mm.
and surrender to his hierarchy. I don't know, whoever it could be, sort of like
Mm.
that's my personal policy. So then you don't have to depend on anybody to go to temple, or somebody to take you to temple,
Mm.
or go and sit in the crowd and chit chat. How many people wearing gold bangles, and how many people are wearing diamond chains, that kind of thing. But within yourself, in your own company, you can just concentrate a lot better than
Mm. Very
in a
true.
crowd.
Yes, yes. These two paths, absolutely. One is the path of being humble and yet following something, yet having the open mind to keep questioning and following things. The other, like you rightly said, is the other path of self-exploration and journey too. True.
And the past experience is also like, people judge you by your looks, people judge you by your clothes, people judge. I used to take my younger sister with me because we looked so different. And the pujaris used to give me the prasadam, they used to neglect her.
Mm.
And this has happened with a couple of my friends also. They would just give me the preference. Well, I found it all very wrong. So I stopped believing in pujaris. I never touched anybody's feet. And seeking Ashirvada. Yeah, if they're ready to give me blessings from a distance, they are going to give me blessings from a distance. I don't have to sort of touch their feet. That's my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm a rebel, but that's my
Very true. That is a different path in itself. That's very true. Uh, so on this path of self journey need not and should not be dependent on others. You're rightly going. I mean, you're actually truly professing this other path, which is very nice. But yes, the point of that touching the feet, etc., are for people of a different path to keep them grounded, to keep them humble. So that is only and the guru himself will be bowing down to his own guru or her own guru, etc. So that is a different path altogether. Correct. Yes. Satyam. Astu. Beautiful. Ati sundaram. Satyam shivam sundaram asmakam vimarshaha kriyante. अस्तु अग्रिमकक्षायां मिलामः समयः अतीतः अभूत् धन्यवादाः अनेके अग्रिमकक्षा शीघ्रमेव भवति तदानीं सर्वे अपि आगच्छन्तु इति प्रार्थना यस् हरि यस्
On Shantaji mentioning to check whether whether it's a good or bad. From where that kind of information from, if you are not exposed to, how do we get that? What is right and what is wrong? I have that question. Of course, we can be self-guru. For that also, there should be a base where what is right, what is wrong. I totally agree with Shantaji saying not doing the vratas and then not going. Of course, if the congregation is only for a comparison and then show off, then even I don't go in such places. And if at all I go, it's only for meeting the guru or really good people. And otherwise, if I go to the temple, I don't go when it's too much crowded. Most of the pujaris, sadly to say, they are materialistic. And if you go to Mandir, we hardly get the darshan, but we'll be pushed away and given a more prominence to who donated more. So such places, even going there, it doesn't give any much this one, but sitting over there and just away and then chanting through mantras or something, because we have learned that in temple there is a positive this one because of the Vastu Shilpa and all kind of puja done. There is a positive vibe for that. You have to go there. So otherwise, if it is like most of the time it is people oriented and the devotion. Totally agree, but how do we notice the base point to say that this is right, this is wrong, if you are good, is it good? That was my curiosity.
It will tell you as you start maturing. Okay, if you have time, I'll just give you one regret I have got in my life. Okay?
Yes.
And I was with a foreign group of tourists, and you know the Ooty train?
Yes, Ooty train.
The Kamandala Ooty train. I was with that group, and one of the coolie guys, I don't know, I shouldn't say coolie anymore, sort of like one of the guys who was there, he came and asked me, would you like to sit in the first class? And I said, okay, that is right behind the driver. And he said, okay, give me a ticket. And he went and exchanged the ticket for first class and stuff. And he wanted my old ticket, the second class one. And in my arrogance or ignorance or whatever, I thought, okay, this guy is going to sell this ticket and he's going to make money. He would have done that. But my arrogance was, he's trying to make money out of my whatever. Because I was ignorant. And I could think only in one path, not both sides of the coin. So I still have the ticket with me. Whenever I try to sort of clear my possession, I look at the ticket and I think how arrogant you were, ignorant you were. But that was not my fault. It was the circumstance. I was not mature enough. So I console myself. You did wrong, but you can right it by doing something better at present. And I always remember that guy. And he was just an ordinary man, and he tried to help me, but I didn't help him. But again, my I'm going through my personal experiences, basically, sort of like. And if you help somebody today, don't ever expect anything for pratyupakara or expect anything back from them. Yeah. And when you need help, God is going to come in the form of somebody else and help you. And I got flying from Washington, D.C. to New Jersey, and I wanted to get back to New Jersey on the tube. It was pitch dark at 5 o'clock in the evening. And I came to the station, and I didn't know where to go. And I was trying to get off the bus. After flying, I came to the bus and to the train station. And I was trying to ask the driver. And one man stayed behind, sort of listening to me, and he said, follow me. And I had to trust him. I very blindly followed him. And I said, I don't have no ticket for the thing. I don't know how to buy the tickets for the tube. And he said, just follow me. And he took me there. And he wanted to top up his card to let me in. And there were quite a lot of people who were watching. And he said, this is not looking safe. You just go and sit in the train. He let me in with his ticket. And then he had to go on top of his card. And I don't know where he came from, how he helped me. He got off one station before me. And then I got home safe to my nephew. So he was my God that day.
Yeah, former. Yeah.
Yeah. And even to this day, I will never forget that OT instance. If anybody says, "Have you got any regrets?" That is my only regret. But still, I console myself. Yes, you're ignorant. You're not ignorant anymore. You're more experienced.
Satyam. Self-evaluation. Astu, let's continue this discussion tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
धन्यवादाः अनेके उद्भाभ्यामपि.
Tomorrow I'll still be wanting to catch the train, so I'll be listening and sort of getting ready to go and having my breakfast and things.
अस्तु अस्तु यथाशक्ति यथानुकूल्यम्.
Is the time difference for me here?
अस्तु अस्तु यथानुकूल्यम् आर्य यथानुकूल्यम्. अस्तु धन्यवादाः. नमो नमः.
धन्यवादः.
नमो नमः.